Time to talk some puck. Hit that like, hit that subscribe. Let's go talk about it.
That's my baby. That's my baby.
We're going at it at 110%.
I just want 5 minutes of happiness, please. Just give me 5 minutes.
And they scored! They did it!
Left, feet left.
What the hell was that?
Oh, yeah!
What the fuck are you talking about?
Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to a brand new edition of the Hockey Happy Hour right here on A2DRadio.com. I am Matt Sitsuti, along with the Darkwing, Brian Daly.
What up?
And the Broken One, Mr. Rob Povia.
I'll follow you. You follow me. Together we'll go to places we've never been.
Oh. I like it. Let's go.
All right, ladies and gentlemen. We are here ready to go, giving some live reactions here in the third period with about 10 minutes left. 2-1 Tampa Bay currently in game number 3 of this semifinal matchup to see who will go to the Stanley Cup Finals. And a rematch, basically, from last year, because it's pretty much the equivalent of the Eastern Conference Finals. So, 2 years in a row, these two teams have met each other in probably the second most important series, other than the final itself. So, there you go. But anyway, we are brought to you by Body Check Wellness, line of product using hemp. You can use that A2D code right there at the bottom of your screen there to get 20% off your order. And it was created by the one and only Mr. Riley Cote. And if he is on with us, which he usually is once a month, you get 40% off of a THC-free product box, which is $140 worth of savings. And they've got everything from topicals, ointments, gummies, you name it, they've got it. All right, gentlemen, here we are. Game number 3. Stanley Cup semifinal matchup, rematch between the Islanders and the Lightning. This series, man, it's been nasty, and it's continuing down that path here in Game 3 tonight.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. Kind of the series that we expected it to be so far. Some physicality, a lot of speed, and nothing short of offense, I'll tell you that much right now.
Man, we saw some fisticuffs there at the end of the second period after Tampa Bay scores a goal 4 seconds after their power play expired. And, you know, those are killer goals, you know, last minute of a period heading into the third.
Especially when you just score a goal, 2 minutes before that, and they answer almost immediately. That's a killer. That's a killer for your momentum.
For sure.
And right now we've had quite a fun couple of series, actually, because, of course, obviously, there is the other semifinal matchup, which does relate to our Twitter question, which is, it's really cool that we have an East-West matchup for a semifinal contest. Agree or disagree, because the other matchup happens to be the Vegas Golden Knights and the Montreal Canadiens, and that series has been pretty nasty and pretty tight as well. The last game seemed like Montreal was going to hold on for a victory, and then at the very last moment, like Rob, you were talking about last-minute goals, Vegas got one, and boy, oh boy, did that game get very, very exciting there towards the end. Montreal had it more exciting than it needed it to be, but Price came up big with some big saves, and the defense held up strong there, and Montreal tied up the series. So, gentlemen, what do you think? Agree or disagree? Having an East-West matchup here in this semifinals, is it a cool thing or is it a bad thing? What are you guys feeling here?
I love it, to be completely honest with you, because it's something that we haven't seen in a long time. And it's something that I've discussed at work with a few people about maybe this NHL should be doing. You know, give us more opportunities to see East versus East or West versus West in the Stanley Cup final. And make for, let's be real, if you can catch the right matchup, it's going to make for a very interesting and very fun Stanley Cup final. And a lot of it is just you know, a lot of these teams see each other two times a year. What's up, Jesse? Why not get somebody that's been possibly in the same division? How much fun would that be? A Penguins Flyers Stanley Cup final? LA Kings Anaheim Ducks Stanley Cup final? Chicago Blackhawks St. Louis Blues Stanley Cup final?
I'll be honest with you. I don't know if I would survive a Flyers Penguins Stanley Cup final.
I'm
I don't
just
think
saying.
I don't think I would be able to
Think about
handle it.
rivalries.
Honestly.
I mean, just think about the potential of the rivalry in the Stanley Cup final, the bloodbath. It's already hard fought between East and West, and then it can get pretty, pretty frisky out there. But
Frisky.
frisky, yeah. But just imagine if it's a division rival.
Yeah.
It would be great. I mean, we can see Detroit and Colorado in the Stanley Cup final, which is really great. But yeah, I'm just the idea of some of these rivalries potentially could be a Stanley Cup final. It's awesome. I love it.
Yeah. What's up, Brits? But I will say this, though. It is kind of cool, though, to see a Vegas-Montreal series, Just, the idea of seeing an East versus West. I mean, there were some matchups that, unfortunately, it seemed like that was going to be one of our chances to see it. We didn't get it. But you know what? We at least have this one. And you know what? It's been living up to it. Montreal coming out of the Canadian division, Not everybody's picked to get out of that division. Probably no one's besides Montreal fans. And, they're making the most of it. They're fighting Vegas hard. They're not backing down an inch. So, very interesting to see what we'll get when we go back to the Bell Center. Since the Canadian government has allowed the travel between the Canada and U.S. border for the Stanley Cup playoffs.
Frank, come on in here. I know you said you want to talk about the Islanders. Where you at?
There he is.
Go ahead, Frank. Let us know.
What in living hell was that?
Well, that's pretty much Brian's fault. That was all his fault. You invited Frank onto the stream, and that's what you get in return.
Did last night's Sixers game fuck with your head, Franklin? It sure did me.
Yes.
Yeah.
So what do you got on the Islanders, Frank?
Well, they're fighting really hard, and sometimes they are hardly fighting. There's one relative in my house that is absolutely enjoying this series, and that is my father, and he won a good chunk of change thanks to a 2-1 opening game victory. Yeah, I think it's been a well thought out series. I hope for the despite me being a Flyers fan, I want to see the Islanders go to a Stanley Cup. I want to actually see an Islanders Stanley Cup for the first time, and I want to see a very, very excited father watching another Islander series again. So that's my thought on the series. The Islanders, they're that feisty team, and the way I'm seeing right now, they're putting up a great fight against the Lightning. I just hope they can get on the winning end tonight.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, they're playing hard enough. They're getting the chances. They're up against a tough goalie in Andrei Vasilevsky. Yeah, he's a top goalie. He's a Vezina nominee for a reason.
Oh, absolutely.
Matt. Hey, Matt.
Matt.
What?
Do you know who this is, Matt?
No, and I don't care. I think people seem to
being
forget
invaded.
all this shit back here, and no one actually realizes it.
Oh, man.
Oh, my God.
People forget that they send me the producer's link. I just can't believe that.
I think you made a really big mistake. You know why? You want me to tell you why? You just deleted
The voice of God.
Well, the problem is it says Ralph on there, so, immediately I thought, oh, okay, I'm just deleting Ralph, so it's not that big of a deal.
That was your first mistake. Good to see you, Mr. City.
Good to have you back, Brodo. Good to have you back.
Oh, Brodo,
I gotta say that voice was high pitched just enough. It kind of almost sounded like Tatum O'Neal on the Bad News Bears, but then it got real deep.
Yeah, I mean, we had this all planned out. We had some sexy, smooth jazz music to make you uncomfortable.
So
he just got a better reaction out of me than he did him.
Hey,
that's okay though.
You were a very good guinea pig, Daly. You were very.
I was a better guinea pig than he was.
Well, the problem is that we freaked the hell out of Eileen, who's in the comment section, like, "What the fuck am I listening to?"
I think I felt. I'm sitting there. I thought somebody hacked this stream.
Yeah, Chucks is thinking the exact same thing.
Yeah. You just witnessed a Christmas miracle, Chucks.
A Christmas miracle.
Yes.
Nah, man, we're actually 15 minutes behind. Prez, where are you? Yeah, Jesse, I think it is going to be that Stanley Cup final. I think it's going to be Vegas Lightning. But I tell you what, these teams, these Final Four teams have matched up really well.
So anywho, I'm going to disappear now and have a great show.
Thanks, Frank.
I was just writing with Eileen. Oh, up close and personal.
I don't like that. I don't like that.
I'll fix this. Hold on.
Right on. Much better. But yeah, I wanted to give before I forget, I wanted to give a little shout out and kudos and congratulations to Roddy Brendamore winning Jack Adams today, Coach of the Year,
Yes,
and re-signing with the Hurricanes as well. I believe for 3 years, Brian.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, so
and stay with the Canes.
Yeah, well deserved.
Absolutely, 1,000%. I mean, one of the top teams in the league this year. Unfortunately, got booed a little early in a hard-fought series with the Lightning. Again, same situation the Islanders are running into right now with it being, you're going up against the – I mean, you could argue you're going up against the top goalie in the league right now. And the dude is locked in. He absolutely locked in right now. And it kind of sucks to say because I think the Lightning are going to wind up winning the Cup again and going to be the first team to repeat since the Penguins. But –
well, that's okay. You can get rid of that, anytime.
Islanders, again, are another team like the Canes that aren't out of the series despite the fact that they're losing right now 2-1. They're getting a ton of chances. They just have no finish because of Vasilevsky in that. He's just been better.
Well, I mean, honestly, we were thinking about, who's going to be the Evil Empire team now that, Pittsburgh is not that team anymore. And on top of that, Chicago hasn't been that team in a while. So you're thinking like, okay, well, the two Evil Empire teams are gone. Chicago is done. So's Pittsburgh. Not to say that So the question is, who's going to take that? Well, it may very well be the Lightning who wants to take that. That I guess you would call an unenviable role because now everybody hates you. However, though, you get to see your team be successful. So who the fuck cares? But anyway,
I mean, I don't see them really being an evil empire, mainly because this team right now is $17+ million over the cap. Plus, with the expansion draft, they're going to have to move contracts. So you kind of have to get it. You're going to have to make these moves. So for Tampa Bay to really go back-to-back, this might be their only opportunity to go back-to-back. Lord knows what that roster is going to look like next year because they have to move stuff. And they're going to lose somebody.
Prism, listen, man, your team beat my team in the 2010 Stanley Cup Finals, and they won 2 more after that. Yes, they were an evil empire, but you shouldn't feel bad about that because you got to see that team win 3 Stanley Cups. I haven't seen my team win one, so there you go.
Hold on, Prez, I got something for you.
Oh, no. Oh, he's probably going to go get that Blackhawks jersey. That's what he's probably doing. Anyway, I was saying, how many more years is Pussy Crosby going to play? Pardon my language. How old is he? Like 36? 30? Somewhere around that range?
I was going to say 38.
38? Okay. I mean, he may very well play into his 40s. He might play until like he's like 42 or something like that. You know.
Oh, we're both way off. What was I even thinking? He's 33, and but your point still remains the same, though. I mean, I could still, and that was my gut reaction. Was I was thinking 6 or 7 more seasons. You know, maybe not at elite level, but I mean, he's shown that he's contributing in any area of the game, even if he's not clicking at you.
There you go, Prez. It's for you, buddy.
I mean, I pretty much called it the moment that that you said I got something for Prez. Like, oh, he's gonna go get his Blackhawks jersey.
It's a fantastic jersey. I mean, made famous by one Mr. Wayne Campbell. But I'm talking just. Yes, just the general, with the chief on the breast of the sweater, but I knew right away it was Patrick Kane, and I hate him worse than kids hate broccoli. You know what I mean?
Love 88. Love 88.
Yeah, love that 88.
You're just, I understand the saltiness behind it.
It's all good.
Benny's Nation's here saying, any thought with Tampa having to play 2 very physical series against Florida and the New York Islanders taking its toll as they enter the finals against another physical team in Vegas?
100%, man. I mean, I thought they were going to be a little less energetic coming into these playoffs from being the team to play the most games, along with Dallas Stars, coming out of the bubble on the shortened season, but that they haven't skipped a beat this whole playoff series, but eventually the Pipers got to get paid, right?
Yup. I mean, Vegas had to go through a little bit of the same. I mean, they're to say what you want about Montreal, and I half agree with Jesse. Thanks, Dick. Appreciate you, brother. Montreal was not exactly out of those games against Vegas, and they played a physical game, and they've played a physical game throughout the entire playoffs so far. I think Vegas is going to have to deal with the same issue if they can get there, because again, they play a physical game too, so it's going to take a toll on them as well.
And time just expired on the game, so we're officially 2-1 victory for Tampa Bay. They go up 2-1 in the series, and there we go. So the Islanders will have to try and tie this bad boy up in Game 4 in a couple of nights, and that is a must-win for the Islanders because you don't want to be down 3-1 against Tampa Bay.
And what we saw in that final 2 minutes there is an epitome of why Tampa Bay, against Benny's point, can continue to play these physical teams because they're just big on defense, man. And they just, Islanders just could not break the offensive zone in those final 2 minutes to try to get the equalizer. That's hard to overcome for any team, physical or not.
No, absolutely. I mean, they have a big bruising defense, and it all starts with Victor Hedman. And even when they were getting into the zone, they clogged up lanes. They did what they were supposed to do. They got in passing lanes. They were blocking shots. We weren't giving the Islanders much to work with as far as quality goes. They weren't giving up that prime real estate.
Right.
Yo, just real quick, I got a question for the fan out there.
What's up, Wills?
What's up, Wills? Why do we only see one guy highlighted in green? Become HUD members, $9.99 a month. Shit ton of perks to go with it. We had Priz on the show last week.
We did.
Become an HUD member. You can come on and rant with us. You can make fun of us. You can do whatever. $9.99 a month. All kinds of perks. You can even for you gambling degenerates out there, weekly sports picks from the guys on the Money Pop podcast who are live, I believe, every Friday night. Do members only streams. We give you shout outs. Priz gets shout out all the time. And like I said, you can come on the show with us. You can call us all idiots to our faces. $9.99 a month. Become an A2D member. Let's go. Come on, I want to see more green out there.
Yeah. All right, so moving forward here, Prism saying Montreal going to go up 2-1 on Vegas. I mean, it'll be interesting because the scene will shift to Montreal and there will be fans in the stands. So, it's going to be an interesting battle there. But, I mean, I don't want to say that it couldn't happen. I just want – all right, you know what? I'm not going to do it. Fine, I'll go with it. Priz, I know you love your Habs, so, yeah, I'll just go with it. I won't shatter your dreams.
Just like that white boy that's a recent inmate, just go with it, man. Just go with
it.
Almost a spit take.
Don, one perk should be burning that damn jersey.
If anybody watching the stream is a fan of that FXX show, Dave, you know where that came from.
By the way, Don, if you do join that membership, I think we can convince the higher-ups at A2D to slide that perk in there to make sure that you throw out your $9.99. So that way that jersey goes bye-bye.
No?
Don, I'll pay your membership for 6 months.
That's not a bad deal. That's $60 right there, bro. You're saving $60. And I still ain't burning the jersey. This is going to go into a frame one day.
Nah, that'd be great. I mean, we have loyalists here: Don, Jesse, Benny, along with Priz, who's been on with us. You know what I mean? It's like you guys are another host on the show anyway. You might as well be on camera. Let's go.
Exactly. Let's go. And for you people on Facebook, you can still become members as well, I believe. And we can get the same perks over there as well. We have Eileen on the show all the time.
Yes, we need some female. Absolutely. We need to bring some estrogen to this biatch.
Holy crap.
I've been clamoring. That's what the shows need forever. I knew this one girl, that would have been perfect. Such a cute. I mean, she put all of us to shame with her hockey knowledge. Just never had enough. It's not easy. You think, when we make mistakes, you think, it's really easy to point out. This is not an easy thing to do, even these remote shows from home.
No, it's not. It's not as easy as it looks. We just make it look easy.
That's right.
And that just comes from trial and error, mostly on the error side. But every once in a while, we have a good moment or two.
I mean, I succeed all the time. I don't know what y'all talking about.
I think that Kane jersey's going a little bit too.
I shit success. That's what I do.
I did. But I said in double overtime now, so I don't. Do I get the credit for nailing the score, even though it was in regulation? I don't know.
Maybe Don pays for your membership for 6 months.
Hey, oh, nice.
There you go.
No, you know what? Don will pay the whole year for you. Like, so they burn my jersey, second best American-born player of all time.
So there we go. So remember though, folks, $9.99 right there, as it says at the bottom. So just one little quick reminder, so that everyone can get their memberships taken care of as soon as possible.
Chris, nobody's burning this jersey. You better knock it off. Chris. This dude's going to. I got a frame. I just got to put it in there.
Nah, dude. In all seriousness, I never, understood why people burn jerseys, man. Like,
so stupid.
It is so stupid, man. I mean, it's the problem with this world that everybody has a forum to lay their opinion down, and it causes them to do foolish, idiotic shit. Myself included, the most.
We've all done stupid shit. The one thing I regret was I had an Irving Fryer Eagles jersey that I got from my uncle for Christmas one year. And I had a huge temper tantrum as a child. I took a pair of scissors and I kind of started to pull the holes when they actually had the holes in the jerseys. Then I just ripped the rest of the jersey. Why? I was pissed off. It was stupid. and I lost a jersey, and I had to go spend money to get another one.
That's true.
That's just the thing, Brian. I mean, people obviously are burning money, and there's people in this world that would be internally grateful to you for a meal, and you're burning a fucking jersey like you self-entitled little bitch.
All because your team lost. All because the team lost. Like who? Like is it? Come back next year. You try it again. That's the beauty of professional sports. There's always next season.
Mayonnaise Nation, how dare you disrespect Billy Tibbetts? He is the best American player of all time.
He's in the top 3. I can't put him any lower than that. To me, Mike Modano is always going to be number 1.
And Jesse saying the Cavs fans burning LeBron jerseys and then buying another one after he won a title was funny as hell.
Yeah.
Yup. They burned him after he left for Miami. He won 2 or 3 titles in Miami. Came right back to Cleveland. They started to buy his jerseys all over again. It's so stupid. Just keep the jersey. Just put it in the closet. Hide it. Bury it somewhere.
We call those people sheep. They don't think for themselves whatsoever. And the NBA is just cashing that money in big time on
That's
them.
facts. That's big time facts there, Matty.
Little did we know, LeBron actually invested in the jersey making company and planned this, orchestrated this to go to Miami to come back. What a smart guy!
The funny part is I would absolutely believe that.
Yeah.
LeBron is actually that smart. That's the funny part of it. It's like he sits back in his palace with his wife and everything. He's just like, what can I do to really piss off these fans and then come back later and then they just take me back? Perfect. That's exactly what I'm going to do.
Daddy's just trying to score him a baseball organization. That's all he's doing.
Yeah.
All he's got to do is open his mouth. There's nothing that comes out of LeBron James's mouth right now that doesn't piss me off because half of the shit that he's saying he doesn't need to say. Like, just shut up. Play basketball. Oh, wait. He can't play basketball. He's sitting at home right now, so he's got nothing better to do.
Although, if he does score an MLB team, I wonder which one it would be. What do you think? Because I don't think he would get the Dodgers. I don't think he would get them. What team do you think he would wind up with? You think he'd wind up with like one of those really shitty ran teams? Like,
Well, I don't know if anybody's selling right now.
Well, I mean,
Robbie would know better than me.
I don't know. But tell you what, I'll throw that out. What do you guys think? If LeBron decided to get into the racket of baseball, what do you think? You think what team would he most likely try to purchase? Or get some kind of controlling interest into. I mean, Jeter did take over the Marlins, so, although Jeter was a baseball player, so, But, I don't know if you knew that. He might have. But anyway.
I mean, Alex Rodriguez bought...
yeah, I thought so.
Alex Rodriguez bought the Milwaukee Bucks. I heard a rumor that he's actually trying to move them. What up, Pete?
Hey, Pete. What's going on?
Trump 2020 says Yankees. That makes sense, but I don't think the Steinbrenners are selling that anytime soon.
No, LeBron actually is part owner of the Boston Red Sox as of March 17th. I thought that was the case.
You're right. You're right.
So there we go.
I heard that.
So we got our answer. It is Boston. It's Boston. Anyway, Cleveland Indians. That would be ironic.
Being from Akron, that would be fitting. But need some help.
All the Cavs fans that burned the jerseys when he went to LA will buy the Indians jerseys of LeBron now. Again, the cycle continues.
He should buy the Cleveland team because they're going to have to rename them pretty soon. Boom, Cleveland LeBrons. Let's go.
Oh, the Cleveland Kings. There we go. Go. It writes itself. Better. There we go.
Yeah.
Makes sense.
Yeah, I like it. I like it. Reeling it back to hockey real quick, I'm seeing the stat here on NBC Sportsnet. Longest goal streak since 1991 in a single postseason. Braden Point is now tied for second with Martin Havlat and Kirk Muller with a 6-game goal streak. And that's behind greats Claude Lemieux, Mario Lemieux twice, Joe Sakic, and Pat LaFontaine with 7. What a list, man. Braden Point has been on point for the Tampa Bay Lightning.
They would have been stupid to let him get away when he was an RFA. They couldn't get his contract done right away. They would have been dumb to let him go. He's been such a huge asset. He's been such a huge part of that nucleus. and a big part of the success they've had in the playoffs the last couple of years.
Oh, agreed.
He's a stud. He's a stud.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, that Tampa team has got studs all throughout that lineup. You know, you go from Point, you got Hedman, you've got everybody you could possibly imagine on that squad that are just absolutely devastating to play against. Even the players that are, I guess you would call them not as skilled as other players, are still so skilled they'd be the top players on other teams. You know, it's just how well built that Tampa team is. And again, Steve Yzerman deserves all the credit in the world for that. And on top of it as well, if he could do the same thing in Detroit, work his magic once again, we might see another Red Wings dynasty coming right out of nowhere. And, you know.
He already is. He's already fleecing guys in trades. That Jacob Vrana trade was still one of the biggest fleecings that I've seen in a very long time for the Detroit Red Wings. Yzerman's already starting to work the magic. Guys who only wanted to be there for a year are already saying that they want to come back for another year. Bobby Ryan wants to re-sign in Detroit. Have a good night, Eileen.
Night, Eileen.
See, like, that's huge. Like, that's saying something huge about the organization right now, that even though they are a bottom-dwelling team, the Detroit Red Wings are on the up and up in the next couple of years. And bringing in guys like Bobby Ryan, that helps, because you're bringing in not just that, you're bringing in not just scoring and the veteran leadership, which is with the biggest part with some of these younger guys. They got guys in trades like Jacob Vrana and Richard Panik that are going to be good. They have the number 6 overall this year, and I think the draft pick that they got in the Vrana deal with the Washington Capitals, I think, is a 22nd overall. So they got 2 first-round picks this year, both on opposite ends of the first round. But Yzerman can do some damage with that.
Mm-hmm.
And then you got Lucas Raymond getting ready to come up.
Mm-hmm.
Whew. All you need is your coach. All you need is your coach. Blashill's okay, but I mean, I know Don doesn't like him as much, but I mean, guys want to play for him.
True. I mean, I think we could safely say, I think we could say this for both Detroit and Ottawa. I think that they've seen the worst, and I think now it's up from here, as with getting the young talent and getting the team, starting to get the team together, and maybe making some surprise headaches for some franchises who are trying to get in on a wild card or what have you.
Yeah, I mean, look at it this way. So the one thing, my 2 main focal points if I'm Steve Yzerman this offseason, defenseman and getting a legit, like a real starting goaltender. Jonathan Bernier is good for that platoon. Greiss hasn't been what he was since leaving New York. He was okay, but he wasn't like anything spectacular. But Bernier's played well, and Bernier wants to come back to Detroit as well. He doesn't want to leave either. So that's saying a lot about that organization and where it's headed right now. Now you got veterans who can go anywhere else, probably sign bigger contracts. They want to stay in Detroit. So, I mean, this organization's on the up and up. They're going to compete sooner than later.
Yeah, I agree. And, I mean, really, at the end of the day, you know, looking at the situation as it is, you know, like we said, if Tampa's any mile to follow, it's going to be a real pain in the ass to deal with Detroit moving forward. And the worst part of it is that they happen to be in the East now. Good news. Mm-hmm. Just wonderful news for anyone who has a team in the East as opposed to back in the day. So lucky for you, Brian, when your team's back up and running, you don't have to worry about Detroit. They're going to be over on the other side. You get to just, you know, deal with LA and, you know, the Blackhawks when they get good again. Yeah. And then, you know, if Vancouver ever gets their shit together.
Benny, that's a great question. I mean, my prediction is he goes to Edmonton because they need a goalie more than anybody.
Yes, they do.
I mean, they have a solid enough defense to get the job done. They got to go get some depth scoring. But, I mean, goaltending for Edmonton, if I'm their GM, that's the guy I'm going for. I mean, Detroit could make a push for him because Florida's got 3 goaltenders right now. You got to move one of them. And if they move Spencer Knight, I'm firing that GM immediately because he's going to be so much better. But, yeah, I mean, it's a possibility. It's a possibility that Bob goes to Detroit.
Yeah, it's a possibility. It's definitely on the teams that I think you could see Bob land on. I mean, for Detroit, that would be great. And for him, I think like any change would be good right now for Bob. And I mean, it'll be interesting. But I think you're right though, Brian. I still think it winds up being Edmonton because I think Edmonton's going to try really hard to do that.
Which is my point, Priz. Like, he's not going anywhere. Not going anywhere.
Yeah, and give him credit. Stepped into a role, and he made himself pretty comfy, considering the fact he didn't have any experience in the NHL prior to that. So, credit given to him.
I mean, these young goalies coming in, and we've seen it on multiple teams having just. And I know some people are gonna be like, "Oh, my God!" Coming in, being poised. Like, if I'm the Islanders, I'm starting Sorokin over Varlamov in game 4. Game 4. I don't think there's any question. You spark your team that way. And, guys like Spencer Knight, Ilya Sorokin, like, they've been so poised and so calm in net that, that's something that you want. You want that guy that's in that pressure situation that's not going to sit there and just go nuts and just be on edge. These guys read the plays. They adjust to these plays, They're good at controlling their rebounds and putting rebounds in places where guys are going to get quality.
Yeah, I think we've definitely been seeing that right now with a lot of young goaltenders, especially ones who have had limited experience. Some of them had to come into a situation. We saw it with teams that didn't even make the playoffs. Players had to come in and had to step up and say, "Okay, I guess I have to be the starter now," and they responded well, which is never easy to do. You're walking into a situation like, "Oh shit, how do I handle this?" But train your whole life for it, and they seem to have taken that training very well so far. Benny's Nation said he's got Point as the playoff MVP right now. Very hard to argue against that. But there are some.
Let us know. Let us know who you think your playoff MVP has been so far.
Absolutely. Prism saying Jake Allen, Khudobin, maybe Brian's own Gibson should be Edmonton targets to pair with Mike Smith if he doesn't get his AARP card.
I'm good with the other two. Gibby, take him. Nope. Take his name right on out of there.
Oh, sorry, Gibby will wind up in a Penguins jersey. Anyway.
I will kill you through this screen.
What? After what Jarry did?
Where's Bretto? Is he still in here? Can
No,
we get him out of here?
He's long gone.
Damn.
Let's see. Pietrangelo for me or Price? So, okay, as the MVPs. Go call Homer on that Price one. No, I'm joking, Price. No, Price should be considered because he's been no small part in why Montreal has been as competitive as they have been. They swept Winnipeg, not just because the defense played very, very well, but Price, when he was expected to make some timely saves, he absolutely did. He did in that last game against Vegas and allowed them to pull off that victory and, tie up the series. And Pietrangelo, I think he's been a good leader in that Vegas team. I think there's been some better players, though, in my opinion, on the Vegas squad. I think, there's been a few that I would throw out there that I think would do it. I mean, I think we've seen some really great play from Stone, so I think Stone should be considered for that, at least in terms of we're talking Vegas Golden Knights teams-wise. But yeah, I could definitely understand Pietrangelo on that one. And he agrees it's a complete homer move.
100% unfiltered. I'm surprised nobody said Vasilevsky off the bat. If it wasn't for him, listen, if it wasn't for him, I don't think they get out of the second round. I think Vazzy's been that good and that locked in.
That was my gut, with Vasilevsky. I kind of center on the goaltender when you talk about, those strong playoff runs. And, I mean, you could point towards Fleury there. You know what I mean? You could also point towards getting back to Carey Price, would Montreal be here without Carey Price? I don't think so. I mean, you can make as good as Point has been. There's other pieces to that puzzle in Tampa Bay. You want to talk about, the most valuable player to that team, but I don't know. For me, I'm going to side with Priz, man. Believe it or not. I think especially if the Canadians were able to upset the Golden Knights and make it to the Stanley Cup. I know that would be much to your chagrin, Brian, but that would put him for the in the front running for that Conn Smythe.
No, for sure. And I don't want to change the subject real quick. I turned on SmackDown for some odd reason. Who is this idiot with the black mohawk in the military get up?
Oh, hold on a second. It's been a minute since I've actually watched SmackDown in full. I've been watching highlights, but very off and on.
He's
for that.
It looks like he's with Apollo Crews now, which makes no sense.
Cedric Alexander? Just taking a shot at the dart.
No, I would know Cedric. He's got a black mohawk into a ponytail, and he looks like he's wearing like a Russian military getup.
Oh, hold on a second. Let me see here.
Got to do a process of elimination. Go through all the wrestlers that WWE has canned in the last calendar year, and that'll leave you with your answer.
That's a lot.
It's guys like that. Like they put these like stupid teams together that make absolutely zero sense. This is why I don't watch it anymore.
Yep.
They're terrible. It's just terrible.
Yeah. But
terrible.
Yeah, I mean, usually this is the bad period. You were hoping that maybe they would fix that. They never do.
It's getting worse. It's just anyway. It really is. I can't watch it anymore. It really hurts my brain.
The WWE has come a long way from the days of thumping your Bibles and saying your prayers.
Yeah.
It's never been the same since the Attitude Era.
WWE really has turned into we were entertaining, not World Wrestling Entertainment. But anyway. All right, so
I even tried watching AEW. I can't get into it.
Well, AEW's been booking themselves like morons these past few years, so I don't know why they do that. They shoot themselves in the foot all the time.
Whatever.
They get like 2 things right and they get like 50 things wrong. But anyway,
I just wanted an opportunity to trash wrestling, but
so
if you like it, good for you. I can't get behind it anymore. It's legit trash anymore.
By the way,
anyway, go ahead. If you love it, love it. I ain't on it.
Priz, by the way, for you, brother, if Montreal was to eliminate the Vegas Golden Knights, the team that I did pick to win the Cup this year, I really don't care if they do get eliminated anyway. If Montreal does wind up going to the Stanley Cup Finals, then I will root for Montreal for you, brother. I will root for Montreal for you, and hopefully they would be able to end the Canadian Cup drought that's been active since 1993. So it's been
if they beat Vegas, I'll rock my Habs jersey on the air. So
yeah. So for you, Priz, we will cheer on Montreal, whomever they face, whether it be Tampa or it be the Islanders.
I'd rather have my $100, but that take what I can get.
Anyway, all right. So, gentlemen, over these last couple of series, with everything that we've seen so far, let's take a minute to take a look at the teams that haven't gotten this far. The teams that got eliminated. Let me ask you guys a question. What do you think these teams need to do? Because, Brian, you were talking about it, with Colorado, and we talked about it last time when they got eliminated. So let's talk about it with these other teams. What do we think they need to do to fix the situation of what led to them getting eliminated? So that way we can kind of get an idea of what they should do moving forward come this offseason. After the expansion draft, of course, after they lose a player. So let's kick it up. Carolina, since they did just extend Rod Brind'Amour, what do you guys think that they need to do? I mean, they had one hell of a year. Unfortunately, it came to a bit of a tough ending there in the semifinal matchup. Not their fault. They just came up against Tampa, and Vazzy played his heart out. What would you guys be thinking right now?
Rob, you can go ahead and go first, brother.
For me, as good as their goaltending could be at times, I think in the end it was the Achilles heel come this playoff run. And when you're relying on guys like Peter Mrazek, who has found his game in Carolina, I'll give him credit for that. But it's not like that good to elite goaltender for your team to take the next step. And you guys were mentioning several goaltenders that may be available come this offseason. I think that's where you got to target for Carolina, and if you're Rod Brind'Amour.
I half agree. I mean, you saw a lot of good things out of Alex Nedeljkovic.
Yeah.
And he's young. He's in the Vezina Trophy, or not the Vezina, sorry, the Calder Trophy conversation, so you got a good goaltender in him. So maybe you bring in somebody else. Maybe, I mean, if I don't know Mrazek's contract off the top of my head, but if he's a free agent at the end of this year, maybe you go out, maybe try and bring in maybe a Brian Elliott, somebody to kind of mentor the kid a little bit to take that step forward, just see what you have with them before going out and getting another goaltender. But I mean, for me, I think you got to shore up the penalty kill. So I think you need to try and maybe shore up that defense a little bit more and get guys that are a little more disciplined, because I think that is really what killed their playoff run. Playing a team like Tampa Bay, who's got one of the best power plays in all the league, you got to stay out of the box, and they didn't do that. And in order for you to, survive some of that, you got to be able to kill off penalties. So bringing in maybe some role players to fill in some penalty kill roles, to me, that would be one of their better options right now.
To answer your question, Brian, Mrazek is an unrestricted free agent, so yeah, you let him walk, and Brian Elliott would be good. Do you think Nedeljkovic would be, your goaltender of the future, like that elite level guy? Is he that guy?
I think he could be. I mean, at the end of the year, this year, he posted a goals against under 2. I believe it was 1.9. And his save percentage was, I think, is somewhere around a 930. I'll have to look that up to verify that, but
how old is Nedeljkovic?
Nedeljkovic, I believe, is 22, 23.
Okay, so
let me look that up for you.
So depending upon his age, like we've said, Bryce said it before, goaltenders don't hit their stride until 25, somewhere around that range. Yeah, so I mean, depending upon his age, I would say that he has the potential. But if he's at a certain age now and he's getting his first real taste of the big leagues and he's actually showing some skill, I would keep an eye on it, because it depends on his age, really. That's 25. What I'm 25. All right, so depending upon how he does in the next couple of years, I think we'll find out a little bit more about him. Like I think this was a really great, sort of like a coming out party for him. If this is what he can do on a regular basis, then he should be fine. But if this was this was a career year, he has a bit of a sophomore slump, and then the year after that he doesn't bounce back, then it's then you start to debate a little bit, because it's 1 year, so it's hard to immediately judge him right off the bat, at least in my opinion, because he came right out of nowhere. So I'm kind of wondering how he'll do, next year.
So, I mean, like I said, last year he posted in 23 games a 1.9 goals against with a 932 save percentage. So that says something about his style of game. I mean, up until that point, I don't really necessarily thought that Carolina had the rush to bring him up, so they let him develop a little more. With him being 25, I think that puts him right into where you want him to be.
Yeah.
And being a Calder Trophy nominee now, maybe you do have something. Maybe not elite, Rob, like you were asking, but you're gonna have yourself. If he stays on this pace, you're gonna have yourself a really good goaltender for a few years.
No, I could see it, because I just wasn't really familiar with them. But you're talking about a second-round draft pick, 37th overall. That's pretty high for a goaltender, and a goaltender that, despite the last name, don't let it fool you, born in the good old U.S. of A. in Parma, Ohio.
There you go.
I definitely didn't think that.
Yeah. God bless them American goaltenders, you know what I mean?
Yeah. There's been a great influx of great American goalies. I mean, you have Gibby, we have Johnny Quick, You know, there's been some great U.S.-born goaltenders who've come in. Actually, is it Matt Murray American? Or no, he's Canadian.
No, you said great.
Yeah,
Matt
good
Murray,
point.
Matt Murray and great don't go hand in hand.
He's neither American nor great.
Yeah, he was elevated by a Canadian by the name of Marc-Andre Fleury. Anyway,
we're not claiming Matt Murray. Even if he is American, he's not American.
Yeah, he could go back to Ottawa. Anyway, Benny's Nation, they can't afford to lose a piece of the blue line, but it looks like Hamilton is on the way out. That will hurt. In reference to Dougie Hamilton. That is a tough. That's a tough loss to take. If you take lose Dougie Hamilton, you don't want to lose him.
I think his being traded or do a sign-in deal or sign-and-trade is going to come down to what kind of deal they can come up with in Carolina. I think he's looking for a specific number, and I don't know if Carolina's going to be able to give it to him.
Right. But, I mean, that could be a way where at least they could get a little – you know what I mean? Like, not be left empty-handed. Yeah. You know, both his case and in Seth Jones. It's a great comment to bring up from Priz here to tie in. But you know, I mean, that – just like you said, Brian, orchestrate a sign and trade, and you know that could be a good remedy for both teams there.
Yeah, I mean, I think he's looking for 8 years, but only Carolina's the only team that can give him 8. Right. Nobody else can give him that max deal.
Yeah, so I mean, obviously, we wouldn't be able to give him that max deal either. So
I was reading that article by Sam Carchidi in the Inquirer. You know, you would have to. It would necessitate having to move a big contract back in that trade, you know what I mean? Like you know, idealistically, Jake Voracek.
Yeah. I mean, we've talked about it at my job, you know, about Seth Jones. Apparently, the Flyers are one of the front-running teams for him because they have the youth and they have the prospect pool to be able to pull off a deal to kind of help freshen Columbus up a little bit. So I mean, a move for that. Of that caliber for the Flyers would make sense. One of the deals I've heard, and it's not from any reporters, it's from a conversation I had. I kind of agree with it. You know, it'd be 2 first-round picks, Jake Voracek, Nolan Patrick, and Tyson Forster, which I wouldn't want to give up. Maybe you could throw somebody else in there, try and finagle the deal a little bit. For Seth Jones, Patrick Laine, and a mid-round pick.
How would you feel about
2 bases?
Well, let me think here. Well, let me see. What can we do if we need to switch out Forster?
To me, Forster's not even a thought of being tradable.
Yeah, I was thinking that myself because he's a first-round pick. You don't want to just trade that off.
But if you're getting Laine and Seth Jones, 2 key needs for your team, and you're giving up a guy that, you know, you haven't seen him in the NHL, you don't know if it's going to come to fruition or not. You know, you got to trade for tangible targets. Like, I would be open to it.
I get what you're saying. I just because of the comparisons that I've heard about him and his shot and the way he plays, I don't think you want to try and pass up the opportunity to have him play against you. If his shot is as heavy and as good as they say it is, and NHL ready as they claim him to be, you want him on your team. You don't want to play against him because he's going to do damage.
Benny's Nation does bring up a good point. You could try and throw out Sushko because we haven't really seen much of him. And
you could.
Yeah, I could part with a Sushko. But
like you said, you're already putting in 2 first-round picks.
Yeah.
Putting in Jake Voracek. You're going to send him back to Columbus. You're going to throw in Nolan Patrick, who's a good young center, top 6 caliber center, despite how he played this year. And then you throw in another NHL-ready prospect.
Mm-hmm.
I think that gets the deal done.
Yeah, I think that could right there, you know, and then you don't have to give up a Tyson Forster, you know. And as for, you know, if you are, you know, you get Seth Jones back in return, and then also if you're getting a Patrick Laine, I'm wondering how the Patrick Laine situation will work out, only because of his attitude. So it's like only because he goes from Winnipeg and then he goes to Columbus and it doesn't get any better. It actually got worse. So it's like,
Tortorella.
Yeah, what's up? Well, I know Tortorella had a lot to do with that. It's just again, it's another one of those. All right, how's he? Because here's the thing: Nolan Patrick doesn't like playing for Alain Vigneault. So the question is, what if Lonnie doesn't like playing for AV? Then it's like, well, we got literally just Seth Jones in that deal, which is fine. I'm fine with just getting Seth Jones. But now Lonnie's got rubbed the wrong way by AV, and now he doesn't want to play on Philadelphia. So it's like,
that's the thing.
That's
So,
my
like,
only
I understand
concern.
why you worry about it, but those are some of the things you got to just be like, because players like playing for AV. I just don't think Nolan Patrick fit to his system. I think that's why he doesn't like playing for AV. I don't think it's anything personal towards him. But then again, that's also speculation. If they do trade for Lane, the good he's an RFA after this year anyway, so you can sign him to a 1-2 year deal, keep him on a short term deal, and go from there.
True.
I thought he had
a
more
deal.
time than that.
Yeah, that's true. You could put him on a prove it deal, so yeah, that isn't the worst thing in the world. So let's see. Benny's saying Nolan probably is better suited for a smaller market team. He may very well be. Less pressure. And Prism saying I'm cool with trading prospects for a proven stud. Too many variables on whether they pan out or not, i.e. Nolan Patrick with a low end, hard on the high end. I could, that's usually, unfortunately, that is the risk you run with that. And then Prism saying, Lonnie seems a little sensitive for Philly.
Soft.
I think he'll be happier playing with a guy like Claude Giroux. I know a lot of people probably won't agree with me with that, but
well,
for those who don't agree, whatever. It is what it is. I think you give Giroux a sniper like Patrick Lane, you see his numbers go back up because we've seen it before.
Yeah, that's true. I definitely understand the value of having a Lane on there. It's just, if he's good with the system and everything and he's happy here, then it's like, okay, good. Then that means he'll probably wind up being a very, very important part of the offense moving forward. And Claude Giroux will absolutely enjoy having him play with him.
Yeah, I mean, let's just put it to you this way. So, Lane had 2 goals in Winnipeg before getting traded over to Columbus. Had 10 goals in 45 games, 11 assists for 21 points. That's in a system that he didn't even like. Imagine, we've seen it. And we'll see him hit the 40 goal mark again, which I didn't realize he only hit the 40 goal mark once, but he'll get there again. He just needs the right guys around him. First of all, I don't think, as much as I like Mark Scheifele and Blake Wheeler, I don't know if they were the guys for him. I don't necessarily think Columbus was the answer either. I think with a team like Philly and the line, like, if you can have Giroux, Farabee, and Lane on one line together, yeah, Rob's face said it all.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. They say what were you gonna say, Rob?
That's a lot of setups for one-timers.
Mm-hmm. It's a lot of goals on that line. And then imagine put Tyson Forster on that second line. You're going to be looking back like a Flyers team from the 90s.
Which would be very well welcomed at this point. And then Prism send him to Detroit.
Send who to Detroit?
I was trying to click on the top comment, but it wound up being Prism. You say, my guys, what's up, brother?
Tommy.
Let's go back to what Benny's was saying here. As he was saying, we were connected to Lane while he was in Winnipeg. So I could definitely see the Flyers target him as part of a deal. And it's definitely possible. I mean, if Fletcher couldn't get him the first time, now he could probably get him. It'd probably get him a little bit better on the cheap, too, if worse, even worse on that. And then
it depends on what group he's in for the RFAs.
Yeah, good point. That's a good point.
I mean, coming off a 24-point season, he may be in one of the lower brackets, so you might not have to give up a lot if he accepts the offer sheet, but who knows? It all depends on the compensation.
That is true. That's true about those RFAs. They're very tricky. They can be very tricky at times. And Prism saying, Giroux is a stud through 82 games. That is true. I just can't find him after that. I'd like to see him win a ring in Philly, though. A lot of that has been due to the fact that I think, honestly, when it comes to the playoff hockey, team has just, for some reason, the wheels will just fall right the fuck off. But,
The Sixers do the same thing.
Yeah. But you know what? I do hope to see Giroux win one here. It'd be nice.
He will.
It'd be nice.
He will. I mean, I wouldn't be too worried. Like this Flyers team, I don't think this was. I don't think this is going to be a trend. I don't think it's going to be a continuing trend, I should say. There's too much talent on this team. I think go out and get a veteran D-man. And just a little bit of maybe like another piece or two on the offense. They don't need anything crazy. They're there. They're there. They got the young talent mixed with the good veteran leadership. Maybe move here or there. I mean, you're going to lose somebody to the expansion draft on July 21st. It's just a matter of who. And then you replace that guy. You have a guy set to replace him with. Because it is actually going to be after free agency starts on, I believe, July 1st.
Absolutely.
So, it might not be July. I lied. It might not be July 1st because the Stanley Cup final might still be going on then.
Maybe. But still, at the same time, though, next year, we're back to the full 82 as well. So you're not necessarily a victim of a crunch schedule, and you're also not a victim of a shortened season on top of it either. So if you come out swinging and it just doesn't go your way in the first half, you can rebound in the second half big time because you have the full 82 to fuck up and fix it, which is, the situation that sometimes you need to do in the world of sports. Trump 2020 is saying, who do you have winning the cup? Well, I still have Vegas winning. Sticking with that, not changing that. What about you guys?
My bracket's busted. I had Carolina. I'm going to go on a limb and say Montreal. Just going to go on a limb.
All right, then. So the Canadian drought ends on your say-so there. Robbie, what you got?
It'd be really interesting if it was Montreal, Tampa Bay, or even Montreal Islanders for that standpoint. But I think I got Lightning winning it and going back to back.
All right, then. So we've got a Tampa Bay pick on there. We've got a Montreal pick, and I am still sticking with the Golden Knights because they're still in it. This is why I've learned, don't bet against Vegas because they like to shove it right up your ass. That's the thing. Don't ever bet against Vegas. It's the kind of team that they are. They're the kind of team that takes all your expectations and all your hopes and dreams and says, oh, that's nice. Out
House
you go.
Advantage, bro. It's a house advantage.
Yeah, that's what it is, right? Oh, but anyway.
To your point, Maddie, before the commenter came in, I agree with you totally. I mean, having that practice time in between to work on things and get things right, that's what was severely lacking this year. And it's hard for, the young kids to learn on the fly like that, you know what I mean, in game situations. The real good ones do. So that's what was disturbing for me. But 82 games, I think it'll be, it'll heal a lot of remedies there. But you got to make some improvements here. You know what I mean? This offseason. Now we're going to see what kind of jam we got in Chuck Fletcher.
Yeah. Big time offseason for him. So There we go.
And I mean, everybody's hands are tied with the flat cap, and I get it, but there's creative things you can do.
And he'll come up with something. He's not a dumb guy, as much as to the Flyers fans' chagrin, think he's an idiot, but it's gonna be a question of how much money they're gonna have available.
Right.
Yeah.
And I think a huge thing too. I was reading this the other day on how I knew Hazy was playing hurt, but I didn't know how hurt. You know what I mean? And getting that surgery and being fully healthy for next year. Hopefully we get the Hayes that we saw in year one versus year two.
Sports hernia is no joke.
Right. Exactly.
See, I wanted – actually, it's a good thing you brought this up because I honestly I just want to say this. I get why Hayes wanted to tough it out throughout that year. I understand he felt that obligation to do so, and I appreciate that. That does say a lot about his character, a lot about how his commitment is towards Philadelphia. But my thing is at some point you got to make a decision. Are you helping the team or are you hurting the team? And I don't feel like he made the right decision there. It's like, you're hurting the team, man. I know, shortened season. I know you want to do your best. I know you want to try and contribute to the team. They're paying you a lot of money. But sometimes if that injury is killing your play and you're not contributing and it's just not going well for you, man, get the surgery. Just get the surgery. Take the time off. Listen, I know it sucks. I know you want to be out there. I know you have your passion for the game. Believe me, I get it. Most of us can only dream of being in the spot you're in. But at the same time, you got to do what you got to do. You know, if you're hurting the team, you're hurting the team. Make the decision. Get the surgery. That's just my own little critique on that. It's just like, you don't want to hurt the team. And I felt like he was hurting the team by sticking around there. Again,
there's a lot hurting that team. It wasn't easy.
There was way more than just him. I agree. But I feel like sometimes you got to make the tough decision of, you know what, production's not there. I feel like you just need to get that surgery taken care of. If anything, it might help you because then you come back the next year with the full 82 and you're back right to it. He should be now that he's gotten the surgery anyway. But still, you know, it's just my personal critique on that. It's just like, I feel like sometimes players, you know, I get it. They want to contribute to the team. They want to help the team out. They're a veteran on the team with a lot of young guys around them. But at the same time, it's like, are you hurting the team or are you helping the team? You know, if your production's down and you're not doing much, you're hurting the team more than you're helping. Just personal opinion on that. But anyway.
I mean, I agree to an extent, but if it's a playable injury like that and he's not really seeming like he's bothered by it, I got no problem if he wants to play. The hockey players are a different breed of guy. Like, they're not even like a man's man. They're like demigods sometimes.
I agree on that. You know, it just, you know, I just, you know, that my feeling is, it's like, you know, I feel like somebody would say, well,
I hear you.
Yeah, it's just,
I hear you, Matty.
Get the surgery, you come out swinging next year, and the next thing you know, it's like, boom, it's like you were never gone. But anyway, Benny's Nation saying, does Farabee progress enough to where he will be the best offensive player on the team next year? That's an interesting question. It's not to say that it isn't possible. He could definitely be one of the better offensive players on the team. Depends on, I think, what line he's on, really. If he's on the right line, I think he could definitely be given a huge boost in his offensive numbers. You know, like say if he wants to shoot more and say he's working with a guy like Giroux could set him up perfectly for more opportunities. But the question is, you know, is he more of a disher? If he's more of a disher, then that's a different story, you know, because then he has that issue where stagnation can come into play, which has happened a lot because of the issues of a lot of passers, not a lot of shooters. But
I could see it. I mean, Farabee took a huge step forward this year as far as offense goes. I agree. Put him on the right line with the right guys. Give him good opportunities. Let him get into that prime real estate. Give him good quality shots. I have no disbelief that he could be one of the best offensive guys on the roster. That's the reason why you drafted him. You drafted him because you score.
And pretty much, yeah, I mean, he's pretty much proven that he is capable of being the top scorer already. I mean, he practically was this year. So, I mean, you know, he could I think he can. I definitely believe in Farabee. You know, he's got all the talent in the world. I mean, I remember when they made a big deal about them signing him when they drafted him, because they drafted him later. But he's proven why he was worth all the time and making the big news about. Let's see here. Chris saying, I want to see a defensive leader, someone to pair with Provy, and one, if possible, to be paired with Myers. Keep the slots controlled for Hart and make his job easier. In an ideal world, yes, that is exactly what you want for the defense.
That's why you bring in a guy like Seth Jones. He's a top 10 defenseman.
Yeah, it'd be a good fit. I mean, you know, I'd like to see. Yeah, Dougie Hamilton is just such a big body guy. I mean, he's, I think, more what this team needs Whereas, I mean, don't get me wrong, Seth Jones plays solid defense, but it's, sort of that two-way, like to your point, Brian, you said before when the Flyers brought up Cam York, it's like, yeah, they have enough of that type of defenseman. They need more variety.
Yep, exactly. And that's kind of like what I'm getting at. Why you bring in a guy like Seth Jones? He does have some offensive pop to him, but he's more a solidified two-way player. He'll give you that defense. He'll give you that help on the penalty kill.
Yeah,
but he can't give you that help on the power play. He could be he can be that guy you can rely on. That guy you can put, the game on his back, and you need to kill off a power play to win the game. He's the guy you can turn to. They don't have that. Like, I understand you want some guys who can put the puck in the net on offense. Provy's great. I love Provy. Cam York to be determined. Too small of a sample size, but I thought he played well enough up here early on. And Sanheim. I like Sanheim. He's got some good offensive upside, but he needs to focus more on being a two-way player as well, because he's got the ability to hit and be a shutdown guy. Just needs to focus a little more on the defensive side.
Prism said, by the way, Darkwing Demigods, perfect. So that'll be the we'll have to get a team jersey made of that. And then Tom Arnone once again chiming into the poll. I agree on the East-West matchup that we have going on between Montreal and Vegas.
I mean, you see your possibility of seeing an East versus East Stanley Cup final. I think that's awesome.
That is true. And Benny's Nation, Seth also brings more leadership, which I think is slightly lacking. On the defensive side, absolutely, it was lacking. And again, goes to show, Matt Niskanen, when he retired, that sank us in defense. Big time, that did. Oh, but, hey, if Seth Jones, you add him in, he's younger. He was younger than when Matt Niskanen was when he came to the Flyers, so that's good news. But, adding that leadership quality is something that, does so much more for a franchise that has young players on it that can get out of position way too often, which happened a lot last year, unfortunately. But on that side, next, back to what we were doing beforehand, Florida. So, let's talk about that. So, unfortunately, I picked Florida. I thought that they were going to actually upset Tampa. Boy, was I fucking wrong. They did have quite a shocking victory when they managed to get that OT win in Tampa, and then they did get a win in their home building. But other than that, though, they lost those first two games. That's what killed them. Losing those first two games at home murdered them big time. What are you guys thinking? What do you think Florida needs to do here to hopefully not only get back into the playoffs again, because that's always been questionable, whether they can make it consistently, and finally get out of the first fucking rounds. First time since they went to the final.
You, Brian?
All right, I'll go first. You got to get Aaron Ekblad back, first of all. That's your number one. That's a huge reason why the defense wasn't as good as they usually are. Need to focus on getting I can't even sit here and say you need depth scoring, because they don't. They just need to fix some of the special teams as well. I think you have the goaltender of the future ready in Spencer Knight. So if you can shop Bobrovsky and get something for him, great. But I just think they need to be better on the special teams. I think, not being able to kill off some of the bigger nights that Tampa Bay had on the power play hurt them more than anything. So sure up the penalty kill a little bit is what I'm going to say. And I think with that being said, having Ekblad back 100% helps with that. So just getting Ekblad back, in my opinion, that's going to be their number one.
Yeah, I think that's going to definitely help. Certainly at this point now, you're talking about not a fresh young kid anymore. Has lots of NHL experience and leadership on that back end on the blue line. So, his loss was missed. But other than that, and to your point for your power play, maybe bring in a guy that could, on the cheap that could, contribute, get you some, cheap goals in front of the net, some blocking presence, kind of a la what JVR was doing for the Flyers in the beginning of the season. Panthers have a good blueprint right now. They got great coaching, and I think it just needs to develop and come together. I mean, it all kind of, rises and falls with Barkov and Huberdeau, in my opinion.
No, for sure. For sure.
Prism saying, got a feeling Philly will gonna find a way to get Jones and Hamilton and leave me watch Duncan slowly turn to dust in the wind. My God.
Duncan did have a good season this year. But yeah, he's definitely getting older.
Dude, if Chuck Fletcher manages to pull off not only getting Seth Jones but Dougie Hamilton, then I think we can officially say that Fletcher has definitely won the offseason for the Flyers. Big time. That would be an immediate success.
The GM of the century to pull that off. I don't even know if you can mathematically.
Mathematically, no, I don't think so either.
It would be nice.
Would be able to get a guy maybe like a David Savard. I think he'd be a little more inexpensive.
Yeah, that wouldn't be bad.
And he's a top 4 guy.
Yeah. Yeah, I'd be totally down with that, honestly. Yeah.
Sure, absolutely. I mean, Benny, too, don't forget, I expect a little return to form from Sanheim and even Phil Myers as well. I mean, those are two guys that their game just went south real quick, and they didn't have that practice time to work on things. This defense will be better as is naturally. I mean, depending on who goes in the expansion draft, a lot of people theorizing that'll be Gostisbehere, but that's a piece that could be easily replaced, especially if you're chasing one of these guys that we're talking about here with Dougie Hamilton and Seth Jones. But let's not abandon the ship on some of these other young talent that were, drafted pretty highly and have played well at this NHL level.
Yeah,
that is true.
Yep, for sure.
And Prism saying I like Myers, so he believes that Myers will definitely have a rebound next year on that one.
I think he's another one. It's great that you have the the offensive ability up there, but when you're training this offseason and you get into training camp, focus a little more on putting yourself in better defensive positions and not leaving guys high and dry or leaving guys open on the other side of the net for the easy one-time goal. So,
yeah. And Benny's Nation did a lot. Oh, yeah. Benny's Nation saying, sorry, boys, that comment was meant for Florida. But still, though, we were glad to answer both. on both sides of that coin. But anyway.
Yeah, I can see what he means there. You want to build their depth, you know what I mean? That way if you have a injured guy like Ekblad was, you know what I mean, you could keep the pace.
No, for sure. I got to see who's on their defense now if he's saying they need a second pairing guy.
Now, do you guys think that Florida can make the playoffs next year? Because we're going back to normal, so we'll have the normal division set up for Florida, which would be the Atlantic Division. So whereas normal years, all you got to do is rattle Toronto and you could finagle your way into a possible third-place spot. Now that you've got teams that are slowly starting to build themselves back up and you've got Montreal that could be frustrating to deal with next year, and then on top of that as well, you're going to possibly deal with Ottawa, if Ottawa makes some moves in this offseason, which they possibly could.
They have plenty of money.
Yeah, so if that's the case, what do you guys think about their chances next year of making a wild card or possibly making a shocking run for a third place spot?
Real quick before, what's up, John?
Hey, John.
So I kind of agree with Benny's comment there about them needing a second pair D-man. Looking at their roster right now, obviously you have Ekblad. Just going to run through their typical starting. So you have Ekblad, you have Gudas, obviously not on the same pairing. You have Brandon Montour now, you have Anton Stroman, you have Uyghur, and you have Yandel. I mean, they got a couple decent young guys here. I mean, Nudavara, I think, is going to be a really good defenseman for Florida moving forward. But I mean, I'm not against them going out to get another D-man. As for Ottawa? I don't know about Ottawa.
Well, I mean, do you think that if they make some moves in the offseason and, try to solidify a few pieces here and there so that way they can work well with young guys, older players, do you think that they could be a frustrating enough team?
Not with Matt Murray in net.
I can understand that.
Honestly, not with Matt Murray in net.
That's a good point, yeah.
They'll be pesky, Daddy, but they won't get in Florida's way for making the playoffs. I mean, it's a tougher road, certainly. Montreal has now been, back-to-back playoffs. You got to, predict that they'll make a run for that top three. Toronto, I mean, despite their, choking ways in the first round, still had a fabulous regular season in the shortened, 2021 affair. But I gotta think with Quenneville's the X factor, and he knows what it takes to make the playoffs. He has plenty of experience in doing that, so I think they'll get back there. Yeah.
I mean, I still think they're a little ways off, but I mean, yeah, to Priz's point, I mean, Stutzel, Kachuk. I mean, you went out and made a couple nice little moves, bringing in what's his name from Florida? Crap, why am I blanking on his name? Evgeny Dadonov.
Yep. Mm-hmm.
I don't know. Maybe they make some moves and solidify some of that defense as well. Maybe bring up some of the young guys in the prospect pool and see what you got. This is going to be a pivotal year for them, I think. You're already on that threshold of potentially being a team that could fight for a wild card spot in the next year or two. So see what you got as far as the youth goes, with the prospect that maybe go out and you get a cheap veteran defenseman and just go from there. I mean, I don't see Ottawa competing for another 2 to 3 years, but I mean, like I said, this is going to be a pivotal year for them to see where they are.
And Prism saying Murray was a bad signing as the Kevin Hayes no movement clause part of the deal.
Yeah, that no movement clause was pretty brutal, but I think that was the point that got the deal done.
Yeah. But on to final team in that central situation, and that is Nashville. So this one's the intriguing one because they outbid Dallas because Dallas decided to just take the piss at the last moment of the regular season, and Nashville got in. What do you guys think on Nashville's situation? Because they made the playoffs. They did give Carolina a bit of a headache. Carolina didn't just stomp them and move on to the next round. So what are you guys feeling on Nashville this year?
You go ahead first, Robbie, if you want.
This guy had another proven goal scorer, I think. I think there's just not enough goal scoring on that team, you know what I mean? And they came and bit him in the ass this year.
Yeah, I think I like UC Saros. I think UC Saros is going to be their goaltender of the future.
Mm-hmm.
But I think you start to see a little bit of a major retooling from that team. They were already talking about moving pieces at the deadline because of where they were. Managed to somehow find a way to get themselves back into the playoff race, but I think you're going to see them sell some pieces off this year. And then Jesse. I think you're going to see them retool. Oh, but that Nashville chicken, though, is so good. It's so good. But yeah, I mean, I think you definitely take a step back for sure. Just because they got to move pieces. They got to move them.
Yep.
They got to get a little younger, and with that to happen, you got to move guys like. Not saying this is going to happen. But you move a guy like Forsberg, Colton Sissons, maybe Matt Duchene. Like you got to move pieces. Ekholm, I agree. Ekholm, I think is as good as gone.
Yeah. Now,
I think who was the other one? Ryan Ellis. He could be as good as gone. So they got to retool. They got to figure something out. They can't keep this nucleus together much longer.
Would you guys say that Nashville would not have made the playoffs had it been the case where they had decided to put St. Louis in the Central Division?
Yeah, I don't think they would have.
Yeah, probably not.
Gotcha.
As is, you know.
Yeah. Oh, the reason why I would say that too is because it was very confusing to see that they didn't put St. Louis in the Central Division; they put them in the West instead. But because we all were wondering, Nashville's making a run here. Would that have been the case had the division had St. Louis in it because of that change that they made to it to put St. Louis in the West and instead put Dallas in the Central Division, which is a streaky team, and we've seen that in the past.
I mean, you could have gone either way with St. Louis or Minnesota, putting either one of them in the Central and seeing how that went. But, I just think Nashville they were the Chinese piece of garbage, to be completely honest with you. I think that's what it came down to. Dallas choked big time. I expected them to be a contender for the playoffs again. And they shit the bed. Chicago's in rebuild mode. Who else is in the Central? There's one other team I'm forgetting.
With Chicago,
Nashville.
Detroit was there, and then
Detroit. Like, they were legit the shiniest piece of trash there. So with Dallas shit in the bed, somebody had to win that division. Or somebody had to win that wild card spot.
So it's pretty much just luck that got Nashville into this spot, basically.
Mm-hmm. I think so.
Yeah,
they got hot at the right time.
Yeah,
I said there were talks of selling off some major pieces, and then they righted the ship a little bit and played the right teams at the right time, got hot, and got to the playoffs.
Yeah, because I was feeling the same way too. Because I was thinking, like, boy, if Nashville had been if this had been the regular Central Division setup, they'd have been fucked. There's no way they would have been able to compete. So, lucky for them, I guess, because they got out in the first round anyway. But anyway, Jesse saying Nashville chicken is really good. I felt like Larry David during that Palestinian chicken episode.
I mean, I'm not a big Curb Your Enthusiasm fan, but I mean, he puts himself in some incredibly awkward situations. I don't know how he does it.
And Prism saying, would you all be good with getting both Ekholm and Savard instead of either Jones or Hamilton? Well, I'll take Jones, but I'm going to take either Savard or Ekholm. Jones is coming to Philadelphia no matter what. You can have Hamilton. And, you could take either Savard or Ekholm. You take either one of them.
Crazy prediction. Crazy prediction. Ready? Hamilton goes to Seattle.
Wow.
And you know what? It actually would be, honestly, it wouldn't be all that crazy. You want to know why? It's a superstar caliber player, and you can put his jersey there and sell it immediately off because he's such a great talent. It's not out of the realm of possibilities for an expansion team to get a star. You need to get the star power right off the bat. Makes sense. Go grab Dougie Hamilton.
And you can use him as leverage.
That too.
Yeah, I think it depends on what kind of draft or trade capital they're able to put together during the expansion draft to make that happen. It'd be a tough task, but I can see it getting done.
No, absolutely. I mean, it's probably going to be something that involves all picks on the return side, but it's a move that makes sense.
Yeah. Prism saying Ekholm $3.5 million, Savard $4 million, 2 for the price of 1. Nice salaries.
Yeah, when they brought that up before, I immediately thought that Ekholm is a fabulous plan B. You know what I mean? You don't get one of those two major guys right there, or you bring him in along with one of the major guys and add 2 defenders to this blue line. That'd be nice.
No, for sure. I mean, personally, I'd rather have Seth Jones, but I mean, I wouldn't be upset if the Flyers wound up landing both of those guys. They're 2 solid defensemen. I mean, they're not top 2 caliber players, but they're guys that bring in veteran leadership, and they're 2 solid top 4 guys.
Hey, listen, as long as they stabilize that blue line, I don't care if they're the sexy dame or not. Who cares? They're getting the job done, are they not? Good. That's all we need them to do is get the job done. That's all that mattered. And let's see, Prism saying Stars can't stay healthy. That definitely hurt them too. They had a bad injury problems on that one. And then just saying, I kind of wish the NHL had different divisions. I never liked the division setup for the NHL. I mean, when they did realign with Winnipeg, so that was an interesting look that they had for it moving forward. But because you have those 8 teams, you have a lot of teams in the division as opposed to in the past where you had at most 5, and 6 actually would have been the most. But still, it is crazy though. You add those 2 extra teams, and then it's like, holy shit, that's a lot in just one division.
Yeah, I mean, I'm good with the setups right now as far as division goes. I didn't like it for this year, but I mean, you got to do what you got to do to keep everybody safe. I don't know. I'm good with the way things are right now. I mean, the scheduling could be better at times, but divisions are all right. The only thing I would change is putting Detroit back in the West and figuring out a team to put back in the East. Maybe Nashville. Yeah, make that happen. Let's make that happen. Send Detroit back to the West and put Nashville in the East.
Unfortunately, I hate to dash our hopes. We can't because Detroit requested to go to the East. They actually wanted to go to the East for travel reasons.
No, fuck them. Put Nashville in. Send them back. I'm not laughing. I mean, that's serious right now.
Let's see here.
I'm going to start a movement on Twitter. Hashtag bring back the Patrick division.
Yeah.
There you go. Bring back the Patrick division. There we are. That'd be fun. Back
Norris.
in the day. The Norris. Then what was it? You had the Norris, the Adams, Smythe. Those were the division names back in the day.
Well done.
Of course, the Smythe division was the shittiest division because you only had 2 teams. You had Calgary and you had Edmonton. Everybody else was just second fiddle.
What was the name of our conference?
It was the Wales Conference. Because, they didn't have Eastern Conference or Western Conference back then. Even though everything was geographically like that, they just made it Campbell Conference on one end, Wales Conference on the other. The NHL wanted to be fancy.
I forgot you're a historian.
What's up, Chris?
Hey, Chris, what's going on, man?
Yo.
Let's see. Jesse, after the defensive shit show we had, I take anyone worth a shit. Prism saying, I'd rather have 6 top 4 D-men than 2 top D-men. It's a good point. I mean, when you think about it.
I think I get what he's trying to say, but I'm talking like, obviously your top 2 guys are going to be your top pairing. Top 4 defensemen are going to be like your second pairing, and your top 6 guys are going to be like your third pairing. I think I get what he's trying to say, though. He'd rather have 6 guys that are considered top 4 D-men versus 2 guys who are top 2 D-men. I get what you're saying, Pris.
Yeah. Then bring back the Detroit-Chicago rivalry. That was a great rivalry back in the day.
What I'm talking about.
Probably the best out of that, and this is my opinion, the best series during that time period was when Detroit went up 3-1 and Chicago came all the way back and took the series. That was a really great series, even though if Don's still in there, I'm sure he was not a big fan of that. But that was one hell of a series. I think, wasn't that one of the years Chicago won the Cup? I think it was one of the years they won the Cup. But anyway.
Yeah, that might have been.
But anyway. All right, so on to the West Division. St. Louis. Is St. Louis officially in trouble? Or is this just, no need to hit the panic button? Where are you guys feeling here?
I don't think it's a time. I mean, you still have, good young players on this team, good goaltender. I think they've dug a hole for themselves. And, I was going to say that before that, to your point, if Nashville would have made the playoffs, if they were in the same division with the Blues, another reason they wouldn't have is because the Blues had to get hot too to solidify their position in the playoffs. So I think, it was an example of a team that really had to give that playoff effort early to get into the dance due to a weird year. I would expect a a positive regression back to the mean for St. Louis. You know, do you try to, you know, I think what's key is that, you know, you did lose a big time defender. You replaced him with Krug, which was good, right? But maybe you work on adding towards that defensive depth. That would be my only suggestion.
Gotcha.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, I'm not 100% sold on Binnington. I think he's a little. I think he's like a little overrated. But I mean, yeah, I mean that you got to solidify the defense there. I mean, there's not much depth wise. Scoring's been okay. I mean, you go out, maybe you get a score or two, but I mean, yeah. I can only really see just, you know, solidifying the defense there. I don't really think they're in too much trouble yet, but they're getting close. They gotta give Binnington some better save opportunities.
So a little bit more defensive support.
Yeah. And to Jesse's point, like he's had some, as great as they were to watch, especially the one with San Jose, where he threatened to like punch like three guys coming off the ice.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's an absolute head case, and yeah, I think once he gets his head back, and his head will be back once they give him some good defensemen, but it kind of is what it is right now. I'm not sold. Like I said, I'm not sold on Binnington.
All right, then. Chris was saying it was a great year. Yeah, 2013. So on that, coming back from Detroit 3-1. So it was one of the years that they won the Cup. Kristen saying, how can we fix the Flyers through the draft, expansion draft, free agency, Carter Hart back to normal and growing? Well, Carter Hart will be fine. He had a bad year. That's pretty much all that there is to that. And then as for fixing the Flyers through the draft, honestly, you know, the Flyers still have a lot of talent, and I think that when it comes down to it, there has been, we talked about possibly maybe the Flyers making a trade of their draft pick to possibly get a Seth Jones or whatnot, you know, so we could possibly see something like that happening. Expansion draft-wise, hopefully take a big contract off of us, hopefully take a forward check, maybe a JVR, even if he had a pretty good year. Maybe take a ghost, you know, we're hoping that something like that, basically.
Yeah, I can see that. I mean, through the draft, the beauty thing about hockey is you're going to draft all positions anyway. So I'm not sure there. I have to look a little bit deeper into the draft pool to see where they are. Expansion draft, same deal. Like, I hope they take one of the guys with the bigger contracts, which will be huge. Free agency, I got to look at the free agency list. I don't know who's going to be available yet, but get a sniper, a guy who can score some goals. That can never have too much depth scoring, and get a veteran defenseman. That's my big thing, and I think Carter Hart will be fine. I'm not worried about him. He's only 22.
Yeah,
still young.
What do the Flyers need to Chris besides what you all mentioned there?
Yeah,
marbles, big ones. Gotta throw some fucking balls on this team.
Yeah,
you know, get some more physicality. You know, that's what I'd like to see added. You know, almost like a Ryan Reeves type player. You know what I mean? I think that's what this team. Another, you know, besides the, you know, all the obvious that you pointed out. You know, even if that looks like, you know, playing Sam Moran more. You know, really showed, you know, not only a physical, a back check, but, you know, a willingness to drop the gloves and go.
Yeah, they definitely need that. They need that on both sides. That's not just forward, not just if they need it on both sides. Hang on, Chris, you don't want Seth Jones?
Apparently he doesn't, which is interesting.
Why? I'm curious as to why. He's a top 10 defenseman. He's a two-way player. He helps in all aspects of the game. He would be perfect.
We'll see what Chris's response is. That and Chris said pretty much the same thing he said. And then Just saying, it's okay. Drew, Voracek, Coots, and JVR will take us to the promised land.
Same story for the past decade, eh, Justin?
Yeah. And this is what that was based off. It said, it's sad when I watch the playoffs and it feels like the Flyers aren't even in the same league like Flyers primetime playoff game. You know, I mean, unfortunately, the Flyers, you know, they were victims of two things. One, they were victim of the schedule, and then secondly, they were also victims of the fact that the team really just did not handle the COVID year very well. They just didn't. It was a rough year for them. Mentally, they were not strong, which gets back to the whole, you know, needing the balls. And then on top of it, it's just, you know, it was a number of those issues coming in and just all of it collapsed together. There were also apparently injuries. We talked about Kevin Hayes having that sports hernia, you know, so that also played a factor into the Flyers not playing all that well. So it was a nasty shitstorm that hit the Flyers this year. And let's see, Chris Dunn saying, hell yeah, balls, defense, and snipers. Fuck yeah.
I have a joke in there, but I'm going to keep that to myself, Chris. Next time you set me up, I want to take it, though. I'm going to tell you that right now. Yeah, defensive snipers. It's what I've been saying for the last 4 years. Chris, you good over there?
Apparently, the video's lagging behind for him. So.
I don't know. Sometimes a smoke cloud gets in the way, Priz.
Priz, hit refresh. See what that does.
Enhance.
It's actually just watching that the other day. I love that movie.
Oh, nice. Chris is saying, too many problems with Seth. No leadership to put him where he can be his best.
It's the first time I've heard that. I've heard a lot of the opposite, to be honest with you. I think he'd be a perfect fit for Philadelphia. He has a bigger market than what he's probably used to, but an opportunity for him to be really the same player that he is now. He's just going to have a little bit of a larger spotlight on him. I mean, he'll be the defensive captain.
So, Chris, if not Seth Jones, would you rather be on the Dougie Hamilton side of things? Would you rather have the Flyers be frontrunners for Dougie instead of frontrunners for Seth? So we'll see what he says on that one. Jesse then goes on to say, what do you guys think the Flyers will do as far as youth? Any new youngsters on the team next year? Morgan Frost, Cam York? I think Cam York would be on the roster. You know, obviously we know Wade Allison has to be on the team. As for anybody we haven't seen yet, I'm not sure. I mean, if we don't trade Sushko, maybe, but I'm not 100% sure on that. You know, maybe see Jackson Cates, but in terms of like brand new young, I mean, could we see Tyson Forster this year? You know, I mean, not out of the realm of possibilities, but yeah. Oh no! Oh my god! I think
we got Bogey 10 o'clock. Time to move out.
Break it down. Break down the door. Get him.
I think
you take the rear. We'll take the front door. Exit 3, 2, 1. Go!
It's got Sweetleaf playing on in the background.
No.
I think Prism's got Black Sabbath on. He's got Master Reality. That little Sweetleaf's going on right now.
Maddie, I think you covered all the youngsters that I think would have an actual shot to making the roster out of camp. But Morgan Frost obviously going to get his chance again. You know, after being hurt all last year. Cam York, I think he played well for the most part. I think he's going to get another shot. I think he does make the roster out of camp on the defensive side. Wade Allison, I think, earned a right to, you know, earn a roster spot as well.
Mm-hmm.
Other than that, it depends on what they do in free agency. Depends how active they are.
Yeah, and also the same thing with training camp too. You know, you got to see how they play and maybe give them a go if they have a good training camp and a good preseason. Chris Dunn's saying, very young D, can he lead them all? Love Dougie Hamilton. However, can we add more big money and rebuild responsibly? That is a double-edged sword. If it was a Dougie Hamilton situation, then you would have to generally hope that a big contract gets taken in the expansion draft. Rob, you did allude to it before, of making a trade of possibly a Jake Voracek, or maybe you do move a JVR in that case. Maybe that does tempt Carolina because he had a pretty good year last year. Maybe put him in as an offensive depth possibly for them. But, you know, in terms of that would be what it would take to get that done in terms of the Dougie Hamilton situation. As for the leading of the defense, what do you guys think? You think Hamilton would be able to lead the defense for the Flyers?
I think so. I mean, he's I'm so high on Seth Jones because of what I've seen him do in Columbus, and you know, the type of two-way player that he is. You know, he can bring that aspect back to this team where, you know, that's something they struggled with all the last couple of years. And you know, Dougie Hamilton has more upside than Seth Jones does, and you know, that just fits right into the scheme that they're building right now. For some reason, I'm not huge on the idea of bringing in another offensive defenseman in Dougie Hamilton. I like Dougie. I think he's one of the better defensemen in the league for sure. Top 20 easy. You could argue top 15. I just, you know, you have an opportunity here to get a top 10 defenseman in the league that, you know, on a team that needs a veteran leader. I don't think you can pass up the opportunity for Seth Jones. I think he makes his team better for sure. I mean, you can't go wrong with either guy, but Seth Jones makes his team better. And I think you're not going to have to give up as much to get him.
Yeah, absolutely. Two other quick names I'll throw out there in terms of, you know, thinking outside the box. I'll, you know, the girl next door.
Oh.
Yeah. If the Flyers don't sign a goaltender and they do let Elliott walk as expected, what do you guys think about Felix Sandstrom coming up to back up Hart?
I'd like
All
it.
about it.
Yeah, I would absolutely like it. I'd like to see what he's got. You know, we haven't seen him yet, so I'd love to.
I mean, the Flyers are eventually have to make a choice with the goaltending situation too.
True. Very true.
You have Carter Hart, who's a franchise goalie. I know somebody's probably going to say otherwise in the comments. You have a potential NHL starter in Felix Sandstrom, and you have a potential NHL starter in Usemenko.
Yeah.
But Usemenko is battling an injury right now, so you didn't get to see as much of him. But you have three potential starters right there. You're going to have to make a choice on who you're going to keep around.
True. And if Sandstrom, you know, if it's like, okay, you got a little rattled here and there, and they decide to put him back down a little bit more seasoning, you could always bring up Lyon, because, I mean, Lyon's been a solid third stringer. You can always have him come up as a backup for Hart if necessary.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, obviously, they're probably going to go with Lyon to back him up, but I think Felix Sandstrom deserves a shot.
Yeah.
But, I mean, you do want Sandstrom to play every day. So, like, it's like a double-edged sword. Like, do you give him... So, like, there's, like, three different ways this can go. You can have Hart platoon with Sandstrom, which could be okay, but that kind of hurts Hart a little bit. You make Hart the primary goalie with Sandstrom backing him up. That hurts Sandstrom because he's not going to be playing as much.
Yeah, and it's not like you're bringing in a veteran goaltender that has more youth to him than an Elliott, because then that's more of a, okay, Hart, you know, prove it. So that way we don't have to start this guy every night. You know, and I don't think you necessarily have to do that right now. You know, sometimes you have to do that to give a rookie a kick in the ass, but I don't think you have to do that with Hart. So you just need someone who can, you know, pick up a few games here and there if Hart needs a rest.
Mm-hmm. I don't think Lyon's the guy. But, I mean, Sandstrom, I want to see him play as much as he possibly can. Because if he becomes trade bait, you want to be able to sell him, and you want to be able to sell high on him. He's an NHL starter. He's good enough. Same thing with Usemenko.
That's true. That's true. You know, it gets to that point where it's like maybe that'll be the route we have to go if we have to make some drastic changes. But that's if. I don't think we will, though. Anyway, let's see here. We got Benny's Nation saying, does Wisdom get a few games next year? It's possible, but I want to see how he does in training camp, and then if he has a really good preseason, maybe. But that's a maybe, you know. And if he does get opportunities, I could see him going to fourth line, possibly third line if he's doing pretty good. You know, I mean, I don't know. We'd have to wait and see with how Wisdom does rolling into training camp and into the preseason.
One of my favorite young players, I'll tell you that much.
And I think it's all going to depend on his training camp and what they do in free agency if Wisdom gets a shot.
Yeah. So, I mean, like you said, Brian, you know, free agency, you know, if they do, maybe at best he gets some fourth line play if it comes down to that, you know.
Yeah, I don't think the turkey thermometer is quite popped on him yet. You know what I mean? I think he needs a little more seasoning.
Yep.
Yeah, I agree.
I mean, solid AHL season last year, but I think he still needs a little more time in the oven.
Mm-hmm. And let's see here. Persuaded, I got hockey happy hour and the lights off. It's 82 degrees. And at 11 with Dope Smoker by Sleep On. Nice. Nice.
That sounds like a stoner version of the Blues Brothers right there, man.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, God, I love it. I wonder if he actually realizes maybe he doesn't think it's us. Maybe we should all like put masks on and just start talking in some weird language. See how far that goes, just to see what Prism's comments would be after that.
I think he's finally back on track now. So we should have done it while he was lagging.
Yeah, good point.
Really just pop up and be like, "What the hell just happened?"
Yeah, we missed our window. Oh, well. Anyway, Chris Don Forster has a wicked shot at that. He does. That he absolutely does, which is why I think we could possibly see him this year. And we definitely could see him. And let's see. John saying, I was so high on Isaac Ratcliffe. Any chance that big bastard coming around?
Yes. I think he'll be in competition for a spot come training camp.
Oh, for sure. He has been the last couple of years. I think he's going to finally get that. He's finally going to get over the hump and you know, at least early on get some fourth line minutes.
We might even have a German Rubtsov sighting if he ever gets his way back from the KHL and his shady ass journey from Russia.
Mm-hmm. Well, apparently, and I don't know how true this is, but apparently they're not high on Rubtsov anymore.
Yeah, I can understand that.
Mainly because I guess because of that bullshit stunt that he pulled to get to the KHL, but I don't know. I don't know for sure.
That would be the second young player that would have wound up, you know, doing that shit for the KHL because Corbin Knight wound up just leaving at the 11th hour saying, fuck you guys, I'm going to the KHL, which, you know, was interesting that just came right the fuck out of nowhere. But, you know, let's see here. Jesse saying, who does the Seattle Crackheads take? I think JVR. Well, if we're talking crackheads, well, that's I would actually legitimately just say let's trade to get Jeff Carter back so that way they would take him. Because, you know, it's the crackheads, not the crack in, you know, so you gotta get the right kind of players out there as soon as possible.
I think you're confusing crack with coke.
Well,
he wasn't a crackhead. He's a cokehead.
Listen, it's only one step away, so you just gotta go to the right motel. Anyway,
oh, you got some coke, man? Should I come by later?
You ever suck dick for coke?
No.
All right, I just gotta make sure.
Brian's just checking up on you there.
One of my favorite lines from a movie, though.
Mm-hmm. Especially since it was coming from Bob Saget.
Yeah.
Boo this man!
It's a great movie.
All right, let's see here.
Johnny G. Why does everybody want Goudreau?
I'm not really big on Goudreau. That ship sailed for me. Only because he's a local. I think that's the reason why. It's the same thing with... I mean, I guess it's the same thing with Phillies fans and wanting Mike Trout, although Mike Trout is a proven talent. Whereas Goudreau...
player in baseball.
Yeah, so... Whereas Goudreau, I mean, he's had his moments, but I don't know. I don't know if that's all his fault. I think Calgary is to take some of the blame for it in the way that organization has been over the last few years. But it's just, I'm not 100% sold on Johnny Hockey right now. You know,
he's good, but he doesn't help the Flyers' issues. He'd be another piece of white noise. He's great at play setup. He's got great vision. He's a great passer. He can set goals up like nobody's business. But the Flyers have plenty of guys that can do that. You need a goal scorer. Johnny's only broken 30 one time in his career. Something to think about. That's all I'm saying. I like Johnny. Don't get it twisted. Good player, but he's a setup guy. Flyers need scores.
Yeah.
All right, then on to Prism saying, side note, I probably mentioned it a bunch, but Seth Jones is from Arlington, Texas. Interesting. 10 minutes away from where he lives, apparently. Love to see a local kid get love on my favorite hockey show. Makes me proud of even more. Well, thank you for making us your favorite hockey show, Pris. And also on top of that as well, it's cool to see, you know, seeing Seth Jones coming from Texas and seeing some players coming from exotic locations, you know, whereas, you know, in the past it was always kids from Minnesota. They usually were the U.S.-born players and maybe a few from Illinois.
A lot of New York, too.
Yeah, true. New York and Dakota. Can't forget North Dakota. Anyway. Let's see here. Besides that, though, he is saying Brian Leach is the best player from Texas. I think we can safely say that. Brian Leach was phenomenal. Just to put that into perspective.
Yep.
All right, so let's see here. Any more comments we got here? And saying if Philly doesn't protect Lawton, I'm telling Willen to be okay. I know that there's been talk about that where Lawton could possibly be the one taken by Seattle. That, you know, whole reason why the Flyers extended him. Jesse,
that would be a good move if that's the route that they went. You're getting a really good bottom six player who plays with a lot of effort, a lot of grit, a lot of emotions.
Yeah.
So
Jesse saying, though, I'd cry if they took Lawton. And I see some sites saying they'll take Knack, and that's not good either.
I like both those guys, to be honest with you. Those are the blue-collar players you need.
Those guys go. One of those guys go. You can find me on your nearest bell tower.
Taking somebody out, huh?
Yeah, dude. I ain't joking. No, I ain't joking.
That took a dark turn real fast on that one, on the Lawton Knack one. Oh.
Yeah, I called him a bottom. Where do you got him? He's a third liner.
And he went on to say, listen here, bub.
He's a great third line player. He's perfect for that role. He's a role player.
I mean, I would hate to see Lawton go only because he is a big heart and soul kind of guy. You do need those guys in the locker room. You don't want to lose those guys. Although, if Lawton does go and you still have Knack, it's like, well, Knack is younger. So I could take that trade-off. Knack being the younger on the side, sucks to see him go, but you still have a heart and soul player. He's young, but you still have one. You know what I mean? So I can live with that at the end of the day.
He's a top 9 player. That's what I'm saying. I'm just saying it differently.
So from now on, you got
a top 9 player. I'm telling you, he's a bottom 6 player.
That's what it was.
I don't know why he lined up on the
line. Tomato.
Half full, half empty.
Exactly.
Yeah. You don't call Superman up.
All right, that's fair. I'll give you that one. How, can I say middle six? Will that be okay?
I think you've won him back. I think you've avoided a trip to the box on that one. All right. So let's round this up. Let's finish up with the West here. We'll do the other teams next week, since we'll be in the Stanley Cup Finals probably by then, and we'll have chances to talk about the teams that didn't even make it to the final. So anyway,
we'll have a live reaction show too.
Yeah, true. If which is it is a condensed schedule, so we may very well. All right, so guys, let's finish up the West here, and let's send this one on home. So up to Colorado, we did talk about that. Have you guys changed your opinions at all? Or do you guys kind of stand by what you were saying last week?
Stand by it.
Yeah, for the most part, they got to get Nate Max more help there, man. I watched that video that y'all shared in the chat, and I never seen an athlete more dejected after that Game 6 loss.
I've seen one.
Yeah.
Not Joe Pavelski. Jamie Benn after the Stanley Cup Final last year, just sitting in the locker room. His presser, he didn't say a damn word. He just sat there. He's like,
yeah.
He didn't know what to say. And it's just watching him. Everybody was gone. He was still in his full gear, just sitting on the bench, just staring. Like, I've never seen anything like that.
I think it just shows that, he did put everything out there. It's just a shame of it that, the other team they won. There's not much else you could say about it. Colorado really played a phenomenal series. There isn't really anything I look back on that says, Colorado had a really rough game there. Hell, Vegas was the only out of the two, they had the rough game. They had game one, which was a travesty for them. But other than that, Vegas played very well and played right on level with Colorado. They just outdid them at the end of the day. It's just it. Sometimes the pucks go your way, sometimes they don't. That's what happened with Colorado this time around. It's like with Carolina and Tampa. Carolina didn't really do anything wrong. Just Tampa got them. Not much else you could say. Tampa got them.
It's sort of the way this league's going, man. The skill teams, and we've seen that in these playoffs, have not done well. It's been the teams that center their strategy on defense and goaltending.
Mm-hmm. I mean,
which is weird because of all the new rules. It was supposed to increase the game speed and the higher scoring, and yet it balances back. That's why all these different sports trying to monkey with their sport. It's going to change on its own. Leave it be.
No, for sure. And I mean, Colorado, they're a team with speed. I think if they can get some guys that could be physical, I think they'd be okay. I think just Vegas did a good job at cutting their speed out of their game.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think there's much Colorado really needs to do.
Yeah, and again, they put everything they had in that series, so they got nothing to be ashamed of. You just lost the series to a really good team. You were the two best teams in that division. You faced each other. The better team won at the end of the day. You just tip your cap and you move on. That's all you can do if you're Colorado at this point. Yeah, you can make improvements here and there. But, I can understand the dejection, though, because you did put everything you had into it. So I totally get that side of it.
Patty Mac's going to have a 200-point season next year.
Yes! We saw what happened when
first.
Yeah, we saw what happened when at the award show and everybody was making fun of Tampa and Vazzy wasn't laughing. He didn't even crack a fucking smile. Vazzy's like, all right, motherfuckers, you'll see what happens next year. And they won the cup then the very next year. And they beat Columbus to do it, too. So there you go.
He was over in his chair sitting there like Ryan from The Office.
Pretty sure he won Vezina that year, too.
Yeah. So maybe Colorado wins it next year. And McKinnon's the sole reason for it. So there you go. Anyway.
Hey, these trials, you got to turn them into the fuel that drives you. You come out fired out. You're sick of saying, we'll get them next year. We'll make next year this year. the same can be said to the Philadelphia Flyers.
Yeah, that is true. That is true. All right, then. So finishing up, one last team, and that's Minnesota. What a series they had with Vegas, man. Give credit where credit is due. A team that came right the fuck out of nowhere, had the hottest rookie in the entire league, and boy, oh boy, did they make the entire world take notice of them big time. And they almost had Vegas, almost, but the Golden Knights did finish it off in 7. But this is definitely a launching pad. What trajectory are you looking at here, boys?
Up, 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 and up for this team. Got to get a little bit younger on the defensive side, but depth scoring. And you can get some young depth scoring. Just keep building around Kaprizov.
Yeah.
Could use some more talent at center ice position, I think. They're a little older there, I mean, Parise now, Jesus, he's got to be, 14-year vet at this point, something like that.
Something like that.
Yeah, so a little stronger. I think they lost a lot of key face-offs there against the Golden Knights, which, wound up in the back of their net.
Yeah, believe it or not, I think he's still got like 6 years left on his contract.
Oh, my God.
Wow.
Sutter
6
too.
years. Oh, that's right. Those were those big deals that were, because that was supposed to be this is going to make Minnesota a cup contender.
Those two contracts are identical, so
whenever
Parise's contract's up, you finally get rid of Sutter as well, which I think is like 5 or 6 years or something like that left.
Yeah, they signed the same year, and I remember that too. Remember how big that was when both men went home. They both went to their home, and Minnesota did have some success in the short term. They wound up winning a division, I believe, and then after that, they just couldn't get out of the first round. So that was their biggest problem. They couldn't get it. They would have a great regular season, and they also got Bruce Boudreau as their coach. That was a big mistake. And then next thing you know, they just couldn't get out of the first fucking round. Anyway, so let's see here.
I was a little off at 16-year career at this point. 36 years old.
Close.
Wow. Crazy.
No, for sure, Jesse. I mean, Vegas plays hard. If you look at Game 1, that 4-1 win wasn't as how can I phrase this? The score didn't dictate how the play was. Montreal was in that game, but Fleury was making huge save after huge save after huge save. So Montreal put forth the effort there. Fleury was great.
Yeah. Now, I think we're going to have the debate, though, of the 2010s era and even a little bit before that of who was the better goalie, Lundqvist or Fleury. And the reason why we can have this debate is because Fleury has cups, but Lundqvist, if he had managed, he almost got one for the Rangers. He got them to a Stanley Cup final. They just could not get the job done against LA. So I think you could almost have that argument of who is the goaltender of the generation. Is it Fleury or is it Lundqvist?
Yeah, that's a debate for another day.
True, that is. So, with that, ladies and gentlemen, oh, yes, Robbie.
I have to give a shout out before we leave the airwaves. I have to give a shout out to I'm not a big fan of trolls, but this was awesome. And it's F Sleep Repeat, I guess, on Twitter.
Okay.
Came out to the New Jersey Devils Twitter handle, who put out a tweet saying, "Since it's the anniversary of drafting Martin Brodeur, what is your favorite memory of Marty?" And he replied with this. You can see it. I don't know.
He's a St. Louis legend.
Ah, yes.
St. Louis Blues legend.
Blues. Oh, yes. That was beautiful.
and kudos to I won't show it again because it was pretty too bright there for the camera, but the Twitter handle for the Devils fired back, delete your account. which is pretty funny on their behalf, but that's just the troll of the week. That was fucking excellent. And if I was a Devils fan, I'm sure I wouldn't be too pleased with that, but I am not. So I was very pleased.
That was good. Prism, I think, confirmed that he's a savage.
Yeah.
And Jesse does bring up a good point. There is a third man to talk about in that conversation. That is Carey Price. Yes, you are correct. I do stand corrected. It is a three-way war. All right. But anyway, gentlemen, it's been a good, fun show once again. And we had a quick little live reaction at the beginning there to see off the end of game number 3. Ball is now in Islanders' court. Can they rebound big time here after taking a tough loss in game number 3? Will they be able to tie the series back up?
Got to start Sorokin.
Big game coming up for them. Have to tie the series. You go down 3-1. It's pretty much a death sentence against the Golden Knights. So, with that, ladies and gentlemen, we thank you for joining us once again. For all of those who join us every week, we love you guys. And for all those who joined us for the first time, we thank you as well. Fam, we love you very, very much. And if you want to continue supporting A2D Radio as well as supporting this show, Bri, where can they go to do this?
Head on over to PhillyDrinkers.com. That's Philly Drinkers LLC. You can get all your A2D merch there. They got all kinds of great stuff. Hats, shirts, hoodies, Bad Things in Philadelphia, A2D, all kinds of great stuff over there. Check them out. Get your, for you Sixers fans out there, get your Thrust It t-shirts and be essentially NBA logo of Joel Embiid thrusting in the air, pelvic thrusts. So get those shirts while you can. That's Philly Drinkers LLC. That's PhillyDrinkers.com. It's where all your A2D merch is.
I wore this shirt in honor of the Sixers tonight.
There you go.
Great things happen. Bad things only happen in Philly.
Yep.
Yeah. Also sponsoring the show, besides Body Check Wellness, is Specialized Physical Therapy, Dr. Paul Vidal. You can find him in Burlington and Cherry Hill, New Jersey. Listen, man, every once in a while you can get an ache or a pain going on there, and it could be hell on you. You're just constantly moving, and it's just, God, this shoulder's killing me, this knee's killing me, whatever body part's hurting you. Specialized Physical Therapy is the place to go to help out. Speaking of shoulders, Bri, you had an experience with Specialized Physical Therapy.
I did. They were great over there. Did a great job on my shoulder. Build some endurance back into it. Helped build the strength back up. I'm lifting shit now that I wasn't lifting before. So they did a great job rehabbing me and getting me to build that muscle back up. And, if you're going over to Burlington, go check out Allie. She does a great job. And then if you're going to go to Cherry Hill, check out Carrie. Carrie did an amazing job with my shoulder. Those are the 2 girls I worked with primarily. And then, obviously, make an appointment with Dr. Paul. All these guys, all 3 of those people, they'll get you back to where you want to be.
Absolutely. And we also have eXp Realty. If you are planning on buying or selling a home or looking for a changing career or brokerage, contact Alan Foy at eXp Realty LLC at 302-682-8820 or visit them at alan.foy at exprealty.com. Make the call, send him a notification, and next thing you know, you're selling that old home and moving into the next one, or you're changing things up and making that next step in life. Always an important thing to do. Never something to skim on. So Alan Foy, that's where you want to go. And very importantly, folks, in all seriousness, we joke about, crack and stuff like that. But in the serious side of things, though, if there is an addiction or a mental illness that is harming you or harming your family or a loved one, no matter who it is, Sunrise Detox Counseling Center, their phone number is 856-651-8117. listen, man, this stuff is serious. Anytime you have these kind of addictions or any kind of mental problems, it sends your life into a tailspin, and it is a disastrous situation if you don't get it taken care of. So that's where you need to go. Get the help you need. Get the help that a loved one needs. Don't waste time. As soon as you can, 856-651-8117 to get that taken care of. And finally, as well, we do have another little deal we got going on for you guys. We have one with Body Check Wellness. We also have one going on with our memberships for $9.99, but you also have Manscaped as well. You can get 20% off free shipping with the code of A2D, and you can unlock your confidence. And listen, you do need to do that because the ladies love confidence. That's the one thing that everybody should know, is that confidence is a big key to getting the ladies. And nothing makes you feel more confident than to be properly groomed, to have yourself looking great. Manscaped's the way to do that. And like I said,
not even that, Maddie. Not even that, man. Women don't like your junk funk. Clean them up.
Get
them smelling nice. Get rid of that junk funk. Nobody wants it. Nobody wants it. Ball wipes, ball deodorant, all kinds of crop preservers, and all kinds of great stuff to keep your man junk smelling nice, smelling manly. They smell good. I'm not gonna lie. That stuff smells great. I use it. I ain't got no junk funk. Let's go. Manscaped.com. Use promo code A2D. You get 20% off and free shipping. Yeah, Prince knows. Stuff him on the cheese. You didn't want that.
I'm just laughing because that is just the finest terminology that I've ever heard for that. So creative, so funny. I think it's going to become a thing.
Junk funk? Yeah.
Junk funk. Yeah.
Listen, I'm running with it now. It went over better than I thought it would in my head. So,
Brian, what you need to do is you need to make sure that you contact Manscaped, and then what you got to do is you got to get yourself in on that and be like, hey, I came up with that idea. Get a little kickback. Next thing you know, they're selling T-shirts of junk funk. Be gone.
Where's Alex? Alex will take care of that from Philly Drinkers.
Yeah, there you go. Get Alex in on that shit. There you go. Next thing you know, you're making a little bit of dough yourself on that one. By the way, if you want to make some dough, Money Pot Podcast. That's where you need to go. A2D membership, $9.99 a month. Perks include appearances on shows. We had Prism on here. It's fun as hell. And also, member-only streams, shout-outs, and the weekly sports picks from the Money Pot Podcast. And those guys, you can pretty much take it right to the bank. They know their shit. So you will definitely make yourself some money.
Yeah, $9.99 a month. It's that simple. And then you can do what Priz did last week. Come on the show with us.
Hell yeah. All right, guys. DB, are we still going? DB, you came in at the worst possible time because we were just about to sign off.
Missed you tonight, bro. We're just jumping off.
But hopefully we'll catch you next week, brother.
It was a good show. Go back from the beginning, brother.
Mm-hmm. You'll hear me say junk funk a couple times. It's fun.
That alone is worth the price of admission.
Coming soon to PhillyDrinkers.com. Junk, funk, and sticky stuff.
Yes.
There we go. Perfect.
Well done.
There we are. You know what? Hopefully Alex is watching right now. If he's not, then, someone needs to shoot him over this link. But anyway. All right, guys.
DB. Go back and listen back. We talk about the St. Louis Blues, and I expressed my opinion on Jordan Binnington. So go ahead and check that out.
Yeah, we definitely talked about Jordan Binnington. We talked about the St. Louis Blues as well and what led to them winding up taking the outs in the first round there. All right, guys.
Let's go. I got to be up in 5 hours.
Okay. So we thank you guys for joining us. We will see you guys next week right here on A2DRadio.com. Hopefully we'll have a live reaction for you for the Stanley Cup Finals, and we will see what two teams will be down. Will we have an East versus East matchup? Will Montreal upset Vegas and go to the final? Or will we have a regular East versus West and possibly see a Vegas versus Tampa matchup? Two of the big Titans meeting each other in a Stanley Cup final. That would be fun. All right, guys. We'll see you next week right here on A2DRadio.com from all of us, from the Darkwing, Brian Daly.
Yep.
The Broken One, Rob Povia.
You well, fam.
I am Matt Sassuti. We'll see you next week right here on A2DRadio.com. Peace and love, everyone.
Stay safe out there.